Hello, and welcome to the BYU Family History webinar. I'm Marin. I'll be your host for this webinar. In way of announcements, our next webinar will be on the 28th of March, Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. That'll be with Olivia Jewell. She'll be giving a presentation entitled Preserving Family History in Fun and Modern Ways. If you'd like to rewatch a previous recording, all of our webinars are uploaded onto our YouTube and our website for your convenience. During the webinar, if you have any technical problems, you can enter your concerns in the chat box and I can help you out with that. Please make sure that your mics and your video cameras are disabled so that we can provide a smooth and uninterrupted webinar. You're welcome to use the chat box for comments, but all questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. If you have any technical problems, you can email at fhl_webinars@byu.edu in case the chat box doesn't work today. It should be fine, but if you run into any problems, the email is fhl_webinars@byu.edu. So as it looks like Troy has everything all set up. Troy Moorman is presenting today on books on Family Search, and we'll turn the time over to him. Just 1 second while I get that set up.
Great. Thank you so much, Marin. I'm delighted to be a part of this little podcast webinar. As Marin said, delightful production person here introduced us. We're going to talk about Family Search, one of the menu options that a lot of people just don't know about. And this is when you're in Family Search, whether you log in or not, you come through and you have all these little menus here. And under search, people always search records, and that's how they find their people. Sometimes someone will search a family tree or genealogies, but there's a hidden feature called books. And Family Search is always looking to improve the software and improve the experience so that the end users have more access to materials that's there. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Most people don't realize that Family Search has just changed that book feature from one software program to another one. The new program is actually called Limb Gallery, and I work for Limb Gallery. So that's why they asked me if I'd present this. I gave a presentation at RootsTech, so I'm going to kind of show you the same things I showed the people at RootsTech. And so to do that, I'm going to start with a little PowerPoint. So this is Discovering Family Search Books. So in the old Family Search, when you went to books, you get a screen like this, and you see their partner libraries listed there. You see that there was 350,000 items that they have digitized. Actually, it's more like 360,000. And so I'd go here, and when I searched here, I would search, and I'd search for my mother's maiden name, which is Vanderfect. It's a very German name, but spelled so many different ways. So sometimes it's Vanderfect, or sometimes it's just Fecht. And so it's always been difficult to find information on this. So I thought I'll try in Family History Books, one of these 350,000 items, and search for Vanderfect. And what happened then is it'd come up, and it would give me 5 records. And I was pretty excited because I'd never seen this before. So this is searches I began doing back in January, just comparing the old software with the new software. Well, I noticed the third item of those 5 results was one called the Hornet. It was a yearbook from Holbrook, Nebraska, which is where my mother was from. In 1949, she would have been in school then. So I click on the little details, and under details, it tells you a little bit more information. So again, this is the old way of doing it. And you look through, okay, you see that the Owney Institution was a library in Indiana, of all places, Allen County, and doesn't really help me. So I go back to the title, and if I click on the title in the old way, it'd click, and it would load, and you'd wait, make some popcorn or something. And eventually this would pop up, and you get the whole PDF. And in this case, there's 71 pages. And then I could go through here, and I could go page by page to try to find out where that name Vanderfect was in this case, this yearbook. So it's kind of cumbersome, but at least I know that there's a book with that name Vanderfect in there somewhere. So that was kind of nice, but that's the old way. And I was excited, but I'll be honest, I was lazy. I never went through all the pages. So in the new way, we'll come over here. And again, if I go here, search, and I come down to books, this is what the new one looks like. This is the new thing. It looks a lot nicer. Even the partner libraries that submit a lot of their records, here they all are down here. which is really, really nice. And so I come in here, I'll type that same exact word, Vonderfect, and it's searching the same exact data that it did before. And as I search this, remember before it was 5 records, and now in this case, there's 28 records. Same exact data, but for some reason, it's finding a lot more hits for me. I'm going, hey, that's exciting in and of itself right there. So when I scroll down here to see if I can find that yearbook again, I start looking down a little bit more. There's that same yearbook. And in fact, it even gives me a thumbnail of it, which is better because the other one didn't. There's a line here that says full text results. So if I click on there, it says, oh, here's the wording somewhere in the text. This is what it's saying. There's an M. Vonderfect. I'll click on view. And this is what I think is really cool, quite frankly. First of all, look how fast it is. And then somehow there's something highlighted here, if you notice that in orange. So when you're in books in Family Search, you have this toolbar down here. And one of the options on the toolbar is you can zoom in on it. So when I zoom in, I'm zooming in. There's a Vonderfect there, someone named Vonderfect. And as I move it down here, this tall 6th grader right there was my mother. I had never seen this picture before. In fact, I don't have any pictures of my mother really when she was little. But here she is in 6th grade. And I just thought that is the coolest thing. And how fast it was, it took me right there. And so that was a difference between the old system and this new system. It's pretty significant. Now, if I go back to my search results and I look at this one, for example, this first record even, because I was excited after finding one thing. I thought, hey, here's a picture I never saw. Wonder if there's more. So here's one that says George Ross family. And I went to full text results. And when I clicked on full text results, I saw there were several references in here. I thought, well, that's kind of nice. So I click on one, says this Dorothy Maud Vonderfect. I clicked on it. And when I start looking at it again, it highlights it right away. And then when I zoom in on it and move it down, I can see here this person's name was Dorothy Maud Vonderfect, married to someone named Robert Dale Ross. That was exciting. In my Roots Magic software, I had a D Vonderfect with the same birthday. I had no idea that she was married there, but not only married, but you see some siblings there. Now, usually in the old Family Search, again, you'd have a PDF and you would download it. And when you would find the name Vonderfect there, if I would have found this one, for example, I would have stopped, not realizing that each of these are other pages in this document where that name is found. So you can see all these I would have missed because I wouldn't think to go through the entire book because I don't know in the old system how many times this word is actually there. The new system gives that to you. So just the searching capabilities for an end user to be able to find something as simple as this word Vonderfect was amazing to me. So of those 28 records that was there, I've gone through probably half of them and I have found things under this Vonderfect line that I didn't have before. So I was very excited, and this is listed the last month for this new software that's here. So this is example number 1 of why this Family Search in books is kind of a neat little feature to have that people don't know about. It's the hidden thing. And this is just phase 1 of this. Let me show you a second example of this. So I'll go back to my little PowerPoint. And you can see example 2. So a few years ago, I was up at BYU, Idaho, lovely campus there. I was happening to talking to some people in the library and noticed this book since I'm talking about my mother. I saw this book. It was a book of poems about mothers and different poems and mothers. And I thought that was kind of a neat thing. So I thought, hey, what if I look for the name of one of those poems and see if I can find it? And so the name of the book was The Name of Mother. And since it's a specific title of a poem within a book, I put quotation marks on it. Same thing if you go to BYU Library and you search for something in the catalog, a lot of times it's not going to find it because it's in the full text of a document, but it's not in the what we call the metadata. And so here I would search for it. There's over 9,000 results, and I was scrolling through and I could not find it. Everything was in the title, but it wasn't giving me the title of a poem within the document itself. So then I thought, okay, let's use their advanced search because they have a nice advanced search at BYU. And this is after trying other things. And if you notice then at the top, I remembered something, the title had poems in it, I thought, and the author was either Jack Webster or John Webster. So I tried putting those in there and I searched. And sure enough, it found 8 records. And the first one was the book that I'd actually seen. It was this Memorable Poems and Brief Ancestral Record. Again, had I not remembered something about the title of the book itself and the author, I would never have found it. But now the problem was When I click on this, if you notice in circle, it says the status is missing inventory. When I clicked on there, I'm reading all this information. This is great, but I actually want to see that poem again. That's the whole purpose of this search, was to find that poem, to find it again. I looked through the whole record, didn't see it anywhere except for the status of missing inventory. On the left-hand side, though, I found a little button that said, find similar results. So I thought, let me try clicking on this one. So if I'm an end user, I'm feeling a little bit frustrated because I'm having to go through a lot of different steps to try to find this. So I click on it, and there was another record, an electronic copy, that if I clicked on View Now, then it would take me to another program that had a digital copy of this, and I could search that and find it. Lots of different steps there. There has to be a better way, and that's why Family Search went with this software called LibGallery, and they've implemented this for your search. So this is what the new search will now look like when you're in the Family Search digital library for books. I'll do that same search, and I'll put the quotations in it. The name, name of mother, and I'll press enter. And it found 360 results. That's fine. But if you notice here, that second one, that was the name of that book that I was looking for. So this is how simple it was. I just typed it in there with quotation marks. That's saying look exactly for that phrase. And then I say full text results. And then I find little snippets out of the book itself. And when I say view, again, look how fast it is. I mean, it's just rapidly, it goes right to the page where it is. And here's the name of mother right there. And then if I zero in on it a little bit, I can see here's this cute little name of this poem, The Name of Mother. Again, I can't hear all of you all going, ooh, oh, wow, and everything else, but at least I was inside when I was doing this. I found this was a wow factor. Now there's more you can do with this software. So say I'm in this document right now. I have zoomed in on just this portion of the poem. I have tools down here on the bottom that will help me once I'm inside a document. One of those tools is a download button. You see that one? If you put your mouse over it, it says print or download. So if I select that, it's going to say, do you want to print the entire page? Do you want to print just the visible portion? So because I've zoomed in, it will just print just this part of that page if I wanted to. Do I want to download the entire page, or do I want to download the entire file? So that's an option you have. Maybe I want to see the text that's in here. So if I click on the show text, all of this text has been, it's called OCR'd. That's what makes it all searchable. So everything that's been OCR'd or scanned, so the text is showing up, everything gets searched in LibGallery, which is what Family Search is using. So you have other options here also, like I can see a thumbnail view, which shows me all the different pages of this particular book. That's kind of nice. There is a facing pages view. There is this fun little flipping view where it flips the pages. I don't know why people like that, but some people do. Look at that. I'm turning the pages as I'm reading it. And of course, I can zoom when I'm doing it. So you have some extra tools that are there. So kind of fun. And again, really fast compared to the old way that I spent literally 10 or 15 minutes trying to figure out how to try to even find the poem within a book, because it just wasn't possible with the technology they had. Not that their systems were bad. They just aren't implementing the new features that are available in this day and age we live in. So one more quick example while I'm here. There's a delightful production assistant here. Her name's Marin Bangader. And just for fun, I was in here talking to her about her family history and how she has a relative with a highway named after her in Salt Lake. And so I just for fun, I asked her where her heritage was from, and she said Switzerland. So I put in here Bangater. And I always spell it wrong, but I put it in here, and I asked her the question as I searched for this, because she had never even seen this before, and it's in Family Search, but again, it's the hidden secret for Family Search. And you can see the very first one is the Bangater Matterhorn. She says her ancestors were from Switzerland. And I said, did you know that there's a book named this? And she says, no. So we started looking at this, and she found out that the author here was like a great uncle or something like that. So she's got 3,587 results she can now play with, even though her family is a prestigious pioneer name in these parts. There's so much fun things she can research and find for herself if she wanted to. So some of the power and fun you can do with Family Search, search in books. Now, when you're in this area right here, you can see there's also some facets on the left-hand side, such as collections, where these are coming from, some of the partnered libraries, if you want to limit it by that. You have things like languages. Maybe there's a different language, or subjects or owning institutions. So these are facets that are created. You have some displays that are over here. Right now you see this list display. There's also a thumbnail display. So that way you can see them this way, just a little bit of metadata, seeing what they all are. So this is called phase 1 for Family Search with the books. If you notice, there's not an advanced search button on here yet. There will be. They're working on that. There is an advanced search within Lim Gallery, but the church is wonderful with Family Search in that they take things slowly. They want to make sure it works based on how it'll best be used by you, the end user. And so they always like input and everything like this. And so let me just show you a couple of things, what's coming that you can see that will be available to you. So there's the advanced search that'll be there. And in fact, this isn't it finished, but at least you can see there's a page where they're deciding what they want to do. If I do advanced search. So you'd come in here and you'd say, here's a word. So I can do like my name, or how it was long ago with 2 N's. I can say search the full text, or here's all these different fields that are there. That's why they have to narrow it down to see what would be the best for the end user. But I could just leave it as it is with the full text. And then I could say, and I want to search for, I just add another search field here. I want to search for Nebraska, where my parents were from. And then I could submit this, and then it's going to search, and it wants both those terms in there. So there is an advanced search that's coming soon. It's not in there yet. The first phase is just getting people used to using this, and you can see how powerful it is. But there'll be an advanced search because you'll say, I wish I could find this and this, but not in this. Those are all things you can do in the advanced search. So there's an advanced search. Some other things that'll be available in the future, not just those 2 ways of viewing, but there will also be a condensed list view. So without the thumbnails, you can view things this way. They're working on phase 2, be able to search things by a map view. So when you do a search, there's a little date that's in all those records. There'll be, a geocode, a location code. So I could come in here and I could see where those books were coming from or materials are coming from. And I could just click on, say, a result there and click on it. And then I would just look down here and see the different references that are there. So that's coming soon. And then there's a 5th view as well. I'll click out of here. And I'll go in here. There's a timeline view as well. So maybe I'm looking for something with my ancestors in the 1800s or something, so I could narrow it down after I did my search. And I'd say I want all the materials that are in this particular time range and press submit, and I'd get those records. So those are exciting things that are still coming. So if people use it right now, you'll slowly see more and more things popping up for you. Another thing that's really, really cool that'll be coming soon is the ability to not just print a record, but be able to create lists. So once you log in, you'll be able to come in here. If you notice there's a star there. If I come to this next one, the star is not there. If you like something, you can just click on the star and start saving it to your own personal list that you can save. You can then share those lists or print those lists. Another little thing that's coming that people will be able to use and share with one another as they're finding things. So imagine you're doing something like my wife's doing things with Denmark items. She could highlight a whole bunch of materials, save those, and email those to her sister who's also working on things. So those are kind of the things that are working on, and they're doing much, much more. So again, this is phase 1 of Family Search books that's available right now for people to look at. One thing you have to know, though, when you're first in Family Search, if you go into something, you'll see an access level. Some things say protected. And something, if it says protected and you try to go into it, you'll say, okay, here it is. I want to view it. It's going to say, sorry, you don't have copyright restrictions. They're just waiting on those specific permissions so people will be able to view those things when they log in. But as of now, you may get this and just realize this is not accessible because of copyright reasons right now for people. Eventually, people will be able to access these things, but not at the moment. On the public ones, those are the ones you can see. So if I look down here a little bit more, I'll see, here's a public one right here, Nebraska City. It says access level public. Now, if I say view text results, well, full text, and I click on it and I view it, it's going to show it to me. Now, if I was not logged in, it would give me that same protected screen saying, sorry, you can't see this. Well, you can, you just have to log in. So what does that mean? What it means is that they really want people to just have their own accounts. Whether they're a member of a particular church or affiliated with anything else, it does not matter. An account is free. They just want people to be able to log in, so eventually they'll be able to use these things like lists and everything else. So just create a free little account when you're in Family Search. And once you do that, you have access to all these public features that are there. So that was basically, it was a short little 20-minute overview. I told Maren this is going to be fast and she didn't believe me, but this is about what I was going to do. So I'm going to turn over to her if she has any questions or thoughts or comments or gummies to share or something like that. Try to get her to have healthy foods here. Maren?
All right. Thank you, Troy, for that presentation. We're grateful for your quick walkthrough of this new resource, and we are open for questions now. It looks like we have one question. Suzanne Malik, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I apologize. She asks the question, how soon will the protected titles be open?
That is actually a great question, one that we've been looking forward to. I can't give you an upfront answer. I know it's going to be soon. As soon as they deal with, make sure all the copyrights, all the records have the right copyrights on them and protected. Then there's a committee in Salt Lake that just needs a stamp of approval from those who are higher up to say, okay, it's ready now, you can open it up to people. So I would keep checking. It'll be soon. There won't be like a major announcement. Just all of a sudden you'll be able to access this once you log in. Of course, you'll have to be logged in to be able to access those. But once you're logged in, you'll be able to see some of those without having to go to a Family History Center. Excellent question.
It looks like we have one more question. Frank asks, do you have any ideas of how many family histories are in the collections?
Well, we know that there are over 360,000 items. That would be like books, journals, etc., that are in there. So millions and millions of pages that are in there, but over 360,000 volumes of materials have been scanned. So a month ago, there was a person named Michael Hansen that gave a webinar, and he talked about how Family Search is scanning people's books. That's why that's important. So if people have books to scan, they can take to the Family History Library or send them into Salt Lake, and they'll scan those for free for you. And that's how these family histories are being added into here. Again, this is different than when you do a search for a person's name and you happen to see someone's family tree or something like that within the big, huge wiki tree that Family Search is created on. These are, again, journals, materials. The one that I showed with the one Bonfoot with the family trees in it, that was all on pages that had been transcribed and scanned so we could access it. That document that I saw, the Bangerter Matterhorn one, as we looked at that was a homemade booklet that had been created, typed, written, and everything else that had been scanned in here. So again, there's how many family histories? Not sure, but there are 360,000 items. So these could be county journals, land records. I found a snippet of one of my ancestors in Nebraska when he settled in there, and they gave a history of the county. And there's a little part of that for him. And it talked about that, of course, his children and who they married and things. So that's why this is different than a regular search of just people. You're looking actually like you're reading books and finding little snippets here and there. And, oh, here's my ancestor. Oh, and they married so-and-so, and they had a child here that went to this particular school, and whatever else you're going to find. You'll find some various yearbooks in here and things like that as well, like I did for my mother. So again, there's over 360,000 right now items or volumes that people can search on.
So we do have a few other questions. Suzanne asks, can the entire book be downloaded as in the old version of books? They can. I'm just going to pull up really quick how to do that once more, just so everyone can see that.
Right. So once you're in the record, you'll have the option of download. And so once you're in this record, if you notice that menu bar on the bottom, you'll see one with a little arrow in a box. And then those are different options you have. And there'll be more options, but right now these are your options. And so you see the that bottom one that Maren has highlighted, that will let you then download the entire PDF like you could before. And again, it's quick. So it's there already. Sorry, Maren, you were talking. I just butted right in there.
Yeah, no problem. There was also another question about if there's a link to the past recordings. There is really quick. I'll show you how to access that. So um, in a minute, I'll show you the URL for our website. You also can just Google BYU Family History Library and you'll come to this site here. You can click this schedule picture and that'll bring you to the webinars page. And then we have recent webinars. So all of the recent recordings up to 2 months are posted there. Or you can click see full list of available webinar recordings. And this pulls up a very long list of all of our recordings. We're working on organizing this better and having a search bar for that. But for now, if you hold down Control F on your keyboard, you can just search for things inside the web page. So if we wanted to see James Tanner's webinars, then there's all of these highlighted. So I hope that helps. I think that's the end of the webinar. If we don't have any more questions, I'll just move over to the closing slide.
One more comment on there. Next week's was with Olivia Jewell. She's an excellent presenter if you've never listened to her before. So just a plug in for next week's webinar too. Very insightful for you for family activities.
And it looks like we had another question from Frank. He asked about a specific book. I'm sure that Troy doesn't know every book they have on Family Search, so you'll just have to do your own research and see if it's on that database.
And you can also, if you want a book, remember to do the quotations. If you know the title of a book, do a quotation mark and then the title and then another quotation. That should limit it to look for just that title of a book.
All right, I think that's all the time we have for Q&A. I just wanted to thank you so much for watching this webinar. Next Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, we will be hearing from Olivia Jewell, and she's giving a presentation on preserving family history in fun and modern ways. And a recording of this webinar with Troy will be available next week. And you can catch that on our YouTube channel or on our website. If you have any comments or questions, you're welcome to email fhl_webinars@byu.edu or follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page and a Twitter page or Twitter account. And all of our updates are posted on there as well. Hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you all next time.